Today, let's take a look at how to make a histogram in Python. So I've already loaded in my coasters dataset, and I'm using the pandas library to upload the dataset, matplotlib.pyplot to create my graph, and numpy to change some settings within the graph. So first, I need to pick a column in my dataset to use for my histogram. Histograms are for quantitative data, so I need a column that has numbers. I'm going to go with top speed. So I'm going to define the variable top speed as the column top speed. Now I can go ahead and make my histogram. To do that, you can just do plt.hist, and then you need your variable, and then plt.show. So when I run this code, I end up with a histogram. Now let's take a look at some settings that might be helpful here. First of all, title, axes labels, those are going to be the same as all of the other graphs. plt.title, I'm going to call this top speed of coasters. plt.x label, the label for my x-axis is going to be speed in miles per hour, and plt.y label, the label for my y-axis, I'm going to go number of coasters. So now I have my chart and axes titles. Before I adjust the x and y axes, I'm going to add outlines to the columns in the histogram so it's a little bit easier to see. To do that, go into your plt.hist line of code and add edge color equals whatever color you want. I'm going to go black. So here's my histogram. Now I'm going to go ahead and adjust my axes. I'm going to change my y ticks, which will change what I'm counting by on the y-axis. Here's where I need that numpy library, np.arange, the lowest value in my y-axis, the highest value on my y-axis, and then whatever I want to count by. On the x-axis, I also want to change that, so I can do plt.xticks, arange, again, minimum, maximum, and what you're counting by. I'm going to go 20 to 130 and count by tens. So those are a lot of the labeling type settings, but in terms of the actual data and adjusting that, you might want to change the number of bins or change where the bins start and stop. So I can go back up to plt.hist, and if I do bins equals 15, that's going to be the total number of bins, not the bin width. That is different from some other platforms. So bins is number of bins, not bin width. The other thing I could do, I'm going to delete this, is use range. This will tell me where I want the first bin to start and where I want the last bin to stop. So I'm going to go from 20 to 120. Just kidding. Oh, I forgot my equal sign. So now I've shifted my bins over so that they start at 20 and end at 120. Again, you can adjust the number of bins from here if you want to, but right now it looks like my bin width is 10, which you might like. And the last thing that everyone loves to change, color equals whatever color you would like. I'm going to do purple today. And you can change the color of your histogram. A couple other things that you might want to do. If you want your histogram to have a y-axis that is percentages instead of the number of coasters, we can do that. But first, I'm going to comment out my y ticks because that's going to change. Up here in my plt.hist, I'm going to do density equals true. Now my y-axis is the percentages as decimals. So this is 1% here, 2%, 3%. And I need to change my y label to percent of coasters. Now, if we choose to do so, we can adjust the y-axis to count by whatever we want to count by, but that is how you change the y-axis to percentages. That's about it for histograms today.